Yeah, I thank God for today. Ntife 2022 has come and gone, and we're excited about the outcome. We're excited about the attendance, most especially the fact that we didn't have any space left for more exhibitors. That means that people saw the need to display their wares, and it was also an opportunity for us, to have business to business, with people. One other thing that excites me about Ntife is that it's very important. It's something in the heart of the founders of Ftan. And when I came in, I was first deputy president for 4 years, so I saw it done for a couple of times. And this time around, for us to come after COVID-19 and all the pandemic, the problems of the pandemic, to us is an exciting moment, and we thank God for it. The issue of security, it's everywhere. There's more crime in France than is in Nigeria. There's crime everywhere, but it's the way you go about your business. That's why you have tour operators who guide people into experiences in locations and destinations. And I believe that the issue of crime is something that we can handle, but then we're talking about funding itself. That means, do we want tourism to grow? If you want tourism to grow, then you have to fund it. And that's what we've been trying to emphasize. We have the statistics that was reeled out today, that during the pandemic, that the federal government through the central bank used about 3.5% of our GDP for intervention in COVID-19 pandemic. And that amounts to almost $17 billion. If you are seeing our GDP at about $450 billion. So that's an enormous amount, and we're not feeling it in the tourism industry. That's why we're asking for funding if we want tourism to grow. ICT that is being used to run tourism is emphasized. So I think that the youths will have a better days than we have had, or better days than we have had.
Well, the team was speaking on budgeting and funding an effective tool for tourism sustainability in Nigeria. And the overall outcome of the debate is that government needs to do more in terms of budgeting for tourism in Nigeria. Not only the federal government, all the state government should set up a ministry of tourism. The tourism ministry should be a separate ministry, not lumped under any other ministry like culture and so on. It should be a separate ministry because of the importance of tourism to national development. I've been able to trace over the last 10 years, comparing Nigeria with Dubai, Gambia, and some France, and some other Italy, and some other countries like that, to see the level of tourism contribution to GDP in those countries and what we are having in Nigeria. And the only reason why our own in Nigeria is not adequate is because of government neglect of tourism. I expect that government should do more in terms of budgeting for the tourism development in Nigeria. Again, we talk about private sector cooperation. There should be a public-private sector partnership to develop tourism in Nigeria, especially in the area of funding. Tourism projects are funded by both public-private partnership and then creating opportunity for the micro, small and medium-scale enterprises in the tourism area to be able to access funds in carrying out their job. And this is what we advise today, that if that is done, we will be able to go a long way in developing tourism in Nigeria. Because tourism is one of the key industries that will come after the oil. We have agriculture, we have solid mineral. Tourism is a key factor. And that's why we're advising government to pay more emphasis or lay more emphasis on tourism development in Nigeria.
Well, the aim of today's program was to appraise where we are as an industry and chart a way forward, understanding that tourism has underperformed in our economy. We've seen the numbers go from 2.8% of GDP to 0.76, back to 1.6. We are not utilizing the resources that are available to us as a country. We have the most variety of tourism experiences in the world, not just in Nigeria, in the world. Whether it is the sand dunes in Yobe, or the dolphins in Bayelsa, or the whales that you can see down south, or the oldest iron ore which is the path where man civilized and transformed from an agri-based to industrial society, or to the mountains and hills and rivers, one of only two upland rivers on top of a hill, you understand, one in Nigeria, one in Colorado. So all of these things are significant natural assets that we have not utilized, and they have not contributed to our GDP at a time when we're talking about declining GDP and we're talking about the challenge we face in the economy. So we're trying to force a reset and a rethinking of the priority we give to tourism so that it can take its proper position in boosting our economy. Crude oil is not sustaining us. We can see that we're already running a deficit economy. But rather than say it can, let's look at the professor spoke today about Gambia, where he says that tourism is providing 30% of revenue. Gambia is a country of only 3 million people. Imagine, and it doesn't have 1/10 or 1/100 of the tourism potential of Nigeria. So just imagine how we can leverage all of these resources. Oil will mean nothing to us if we get it right with tourism.
According to the topic of the program, budgeting and funding of tourism sector, is a very, very cogent aspect of tourism, because when we are talking about budgeting and planning, it actually entails a lot of things. In tourism, presently now in Nigeria, tourism is actually lacking capital. So this type of event is very, very important, to actually tackle some aspects of budgeting and financing in tourism industry. As I said earlier, one of the major problems we are actually having in tourism is the financing, the funding aspect. Tourism as a whole is let me say, is a department that you work for and you don't expect a return. So as a CEO, as a tourism stakeholder in Abuja, this kind of event is very, very important, because we are actually lacking in terms of funding and planning. Firstly, before we even talk about the financing and the budgeting aspect, I would love to advise the federal government on the issue of insecurity. The issue of insecurity is very, very bringing down the tourism business in Nigeria. You understand? Don't let me go into the statistics. What's it called? Let me say, statistics overview of the industry. You understand? So we really need to work on the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. Then we can actually now talk about the financing and the budgeting aspects.
It was really, really quite impressive. Very impressive. It was short, but the content was worth it. It's not really about how long an event is. It's the impact that the event makes. And that is exactly what I would describe the Intife of this year. It's not like what we used to do, but the impact is much more. So the content was very rich. And it gave us quite a number of things to go back home, sleep over, think about it, and come back to the drawing board. The members are the ones doing the work. They are like the foot soldiers doing the downstream sector, if I may use that word. Then Ftan is the governing body to oversee the operations of their members. So definitely they are not meant to be seen competing with the members or doing what the members are doing. Theirs is to make sure that the members are doing the right thing. Number one, to make sure the members are doing what they are supposed to do, doing it right the way it is meant to be done. That is why it's an umbrella body that brings everybody together. And another thing that Ftan can do, that I believe they can do, is also to chart a course. What I mean by chart a course is maybe they've looked around the entire industry. No association has thought towards that. They can come and chart a course and say, you know what, guys, let's go this direction. Let's do things this way. And they will lay down the plan, and all the different associations will align and start running with it.
It's a very important event. It's an annual event that has been taking place for more than 10 years. For the Federation, it's both an exhibition and a conference. And a lot of important matters have been discussed. The topic for this year is a very important topic. It's about budgeting and funding, which is at the crux of the matter. Yes, I'll call on the government to pay very good attention to the calls for funding tourism. I like to remind them that there are some countries that have tourism the equivalent of what petroleum is to us, which means they are number one foreign exchange earner because of the tourists coming in. And even in South Africa, that is not number one, but it's either number two or number three. They have a lot of tourists coming in. So we are neglecting a very vital sector that could bring in a lot of money, which at this point in time, we've all agreed that there's a need to diversify our economy from just depending on oil.
Thank you for watching BMC TV. Please watch, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.